Welcome back to the Divine Blueprints Code podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about being marked before the movement. Have you ever felt like you were destined for something greater? That your life is unfolding with purpose, even when the journey is unclear? Well, today we're going to dive deep into what it really means to be spiritually marked for a divine purpose before you even step into your calling. I'm sure a lot of you out there are feeling, you are hearing the call of the Most High. Some of you are even way more advanced in your callings than others, which is absolutely amazing. But today we're going to backtrack a little bit for those who are still getting to be familiar with the inner higher voice as the Most High is calling from within. As you are realizing that you cannot get yourself too much entangled with the world anymore, but you must honor the higher inner calling. Before you were born, you were already marked for greatness. The scriptures remind us of this because God tells us through the prophet that his plans were to prosper us. And even before we were formed in the womb, he already knew what his intentions for us were. There is a divine plan that aligns with your life, specifically a plan that sets you apart for specific tasks and roles in the greater movement of life. You were marked in spirit. That is really the point. Before the world even knew your name, you were marked in spirit. Some people call it destiny. Others call it divine intervention. Whatever it is that you call it, it is undeniable. You were chosen to fulfill something significant in this lifetime. Once you really sit down and you start to look at yourself from outside of yourself, when you start to see how you play a role in people's lives, when you encounter somebody and you smile at them and they smile back at you, and you brighten somebody's day just by initiating good, healthy conversation. If you're not really paying close attention to you, this just might be something that is quite ordinary because you're used to doing it frequently. But when you get to see that just from that little spark, now there is this fire of joy that you've initiated in somebody's life that translates into somebody else's life, and this creates a rippling effect. So you get to see that even just you living in an elevated mode is tying into this higher calling that we are talking about today. You might be wondering, how do I know I'm marked? The answer often lies in the signs. You also have to look out for the synchronicities. And that feeling, right? That feeling that pulls you towards your purpose. You would have to know what the general will of God is for humanity as a whole to be able to now align your purpose with that. Look back at those moments when everything aligned, when the doors opened and you were drawn to something greater than yourself. That's when you were being gently pulled into your calling. Your path might not always be clear, but as you move forward, you'll start to see the divine connections unfold. So if you find yourself asking, but God, I don't really even know what my purpose is. How would I even know that your hand is upon me? How do I know that I am marked with divine favor? You must implement faith. For even as it is written, he who has faith has it all, and he who lacks faith lacks it all. You will see that through your faith, You will be trusting in the all in all completely. And that is the Most High. You would trust when he tells you to take a step. You would trust when he tells you to be still. Because if he tells you to be still and he doesn't tell you to go, you cannot take it upon yourself to go. He told you to be still. You have to now consult. You have to ask, Father, is it time for me to go? Because he knows the seasons better than you do. When he's telling you to be still, you might feel like you've been waiting for too long. But you have to keep in mind that he knows what is ahead of you, just like he knows what was before you. So you have to be able to let the divine's will be done. Remember, your path might not always be clear, but as you move forward, you will start to see the divine connections unfold. That is because you are now paying attention to the signs. You're also paying attention to the synchronicities. So what happens when the journey feels hard, right? When obstacles arise and you feel lost or confused? These challenges are not punishments. You have to keep that in mind. Your challenges are not punishments, right? But you have to see it more as a divine initiation, a divine invitation. The divine is inviting you, but then as you are approaching the divine, you're seeing that you have to go through all of those difficulties. Yes, before you get to meet the king, you are being tested. You go through all of that, but you are also being refined, because the way of God really isn't the way of man. So when obstacles arise and you feel lost or confused, just keep in mind that these challenges are not punishments, but divine invitations. Invitations to stretch, grow, and align more deeply with your purpose. Yes, you might think that when God sets you apart, when God isolates you, if you are not initially focusing on God, you will start to point fingers at different people. You will start to blame the devil. You will start to say all types of stuff, which is actually okay. Because when you look back at all the things that you said, you will realize that it was part of the growing process, the invitation into God's court. You will see that you would have to think of the struggles in your life as divine preparation. They are shaping you for what's ahead. There is no way that you can be a great, powerful leader if you have not been able to endure certain experiences to receive the wisdom. It is through that wisdom that you can help others overcome their trials and tribulations. So that means that you're going to have to take the struggles. You will also have to sometimes keep in mind that the journey is going to be rough, right? But that's often when you're closest to your breakthrough. Right when you are closest to your breakthrough, the journey will feel as though you might as well just turn around and give up. Oh yeah. But you must keep in mind that you have not gone through all of that. You endured so much just to eventually give up right before your breakthrough. So take a moment right now and reflect. Have you ever had a time in your life when you felt, or when everything seemed to align in a way that felt too perfect to be coincidence? Maybe there was a job you were meant to have, or a person who appeared in your life at just the right time. Those moments are reminders that you are marked for something greater. So just in case you're wondering, how do you know that you're marked? Just take a little bit of time and reflect. Have you had any moments where really you knew it was divine intervention? Then yes, God has his eye on you. Even in times of doubt, remember that you are divinely aligned with your purpose. So as you move through your day, remember that you are marked for greatness. You have to write that somewhere. Bury it in your subconscious and in your short-term memory. You have to know that challenges, doubts, and detours are all part of your divine plan. Keep moving forward and stay aligned with your purpose. You are exactly where you need to be. Thank you for tuning in. And remember to join us next time as we continue exploring the blueprint of divine alignment. I love y'all. And trust your process. Tap into your inner spirit of gratitude. And in all things, always say, Father, thank you. May thy will be done. Stay blessed.